Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Julia and I am a Dallas-Fort Worth based flight attendant. I have been a flight attendant for 5 years now, so for today's video, I thought that it would be fun to answer specific questions that I have gotten over the years about my job, about careers in aviation, and just the flight attendant lifestyle in general. So hopefully I can give you all some honest and truthful answers to different questions you have about my job. The number one question that I get asked is how to become a flight attendant, and the answer is a lot more simple than most people think. The easiest way for you to become a flight attendant is simply to go onto different airlines websites, look at the different jobs that they are currently hiring for, and apply. I'm not going to lie to you all, it is very competitive to become a flight attendant. Different airlines usually only open their applications a few times a year, so when you do see those applications open, it's very important to stay on top of it and to have everything ready to go. Part of answering that question too of how to become a flight attendant is to know what airline you should apply for, like which airline is best for you. There are different types of cabin crew. For example, you can work in private aviation. Another word for that is being a corporate flight attendant. You can work for a mainline or you can work for a regional. Corporate flight attendants, think of private jets, you fly for celebrities. That application process is very, very different than working for a commercial airline. Mainline is, think of big airlines like American, United, Delta, and then when you think of regionals, those are usually the sister companies. A few that I can think of off the top of my head are Horizon. I actually used to work for Horizon. That was Alaska Airlines Regional, Envoy, Republic, and a few others. The best way for you to know which airline is best for you specifically to apply to is just by simply looking through their website. See where their bases are. See if you can get a feel for the company culture. See if you can feel like that's somewhere that you would want to work. What do you bring to the table for them? And what does that airline bring to the table for you? Now you've decided what airline you want to apply for. What next? So obviously I have not applied for any jobs within the aviation industry in over 5 years, so I am sure that a lot of things have changed. However, historically, how it has seemed to go is after the initial application, including your resume and sometimes a cover letter, stuff like that, you will be invited to a video interview, and then after passing the video interview, you will be invited to an in-person interview, which is typically at that airline's main hub. Now, if everything goes great at your in-person interview, you will be given what is called a conditional job offer, and what that means is you're given the job pending you pass training. But backing it up a little bit, a few tips that I have for your video and in-person interview are to smile a lot, be yourself, make sure that you enjoy the experience, and also make sure that you follow directions to a T. That is very important because obviously as cabin crew, we have to be able to follow directions and work with each other as a team. College degrees are encouraged, but not required. What is really good to highlight though on your resume and during the interview process is any of the excellent customer service experience that you have. I also receive a lot of questions about training. So training as a flight attendant is typically anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks long, and depending on the airline, sometimes it is paid, but most of the time it is unpaid training. And there are so many different things that you learn throughout training, not only customer service stuff, but anything having to do with safety on board the aircraft. For example, fighting fires, how to handle different medical emergencies, pretty much anything that could go wrong on an airplane, you are taught how to handle that. Once you finish training, you will be sent to one of your airline's bases. This is so important, especially during the application process, is that you are willing to move to any of your airline's bases. Also, along with that, aviation is 24/7, 365 days out of the year. So obviously you have to be willing to work holidays and weekends as well. So say now that you are at your base. Everything from here on out is pretty much going to depend on your airline. Your reserve schedule, your reserve rotation, if you have a line, the different flights you work, how your schedule works. It really, I know this isn't the answer that people want, but it really is so dependent on the airline that you're working for. I would say though that across the board, typical flight attendant trips are anywhere between 1 to 4, maybe 5 days long. Seniority is everything. So the longer that you are with your airline, the easier it's going to be for you to be able to manipulate your schedule, try and get the days off that you want, and try to fly the specific trips and go to the specific destinations that you want. Patience is key. Another Another question I get a lot is how are we paid? And I do have a full video disclaimer. This video is from a long time ago, so I wasn't really good at vlogging back then. But anyways, this video was from a while ago, but I do explain in full detail about how our pay works as flight attendants. But what I will say for the most part is that we are paid for the actual hours that we are flying. So boarding, deplaning, time in the airport, that is not part of our hourly rate. However, we are earning per diem during that time, but we don't actually start making our hourly rate until the boarding door is closed and we have pushed back from the gate. And what per diem is it's an extra amount of money that is added onto our paychecks at the end of the month. And that amount depends on the amount of time that you spend away from base. And what that money is for is to help cover the cost expenses of food and stuff like that while you're gone. Do we pay for hotels while on our trips? No, we do not, as flight attendants, pay for our hotels while we are on work trips. Our airline has that set up well in advance for us. Going back to finances and money as a flight attendant, one thing I will say is that being a flight attendant is not known to be a super high paying job, but what I will say is that you can fly more to make more money, and every year that you're with your airline, you typically do receive a small raise, so it does get better with the more time that you spend with your company. I also will say too that what you don't make in money, you make up for in experiences. For example, there is no other job where you can work a flight to Cancun or some tropical destination and stay at a beautiful beachfront resort, and you're not paying for it, you're actually being paid to be there. Of course, it is not always that glamorous. You do have days where you're up at 2 in the morning, you work 4 legs, you have long sits at the airport, and you know, you have really rough days sometimes, but you also have more, in my opinion, fabulous days that make up for it. Can we have tattoos? This one really depends on the airline. Some nowadays are allowing visible tattoos and some aren't. So that's just something that you would have to really look through when you are applying to that specific airline. But I'm pretty sure with most airlines, if you are able to cover your visible tattoo, then it's not a big deal. For example, I have a tattoo on my back, but no one ever sees it because it is fully covered by my uniform. And I was honest about that in my interview because they asked if I had any tattoos, and I said I have one on my back, but it's not visible, it's fully covered by the uniform, and they said, okay. That's another thing I would say is just with your recruiters, be very truthful and honest, because honesty, in my opinion, is always the best policy. Is this job hard on relationships? For me and my relationship, I think it was really hard for us in the beginning because we were adjusting to me being gone more than I usually am. But now that I've been in it for 5 years, I don't fly as much as I used to, so I am home quite often. And to me, it's better than being home just at night, like after working like a 9 to 5, and then we're both exhausted, and the only time that we get to see each other is at night for dinner before we go to bed. I do feel like now when I come home from a trip and I have a few days off, we get to really spend high quality time together. Also, this job has given me a sense of independence that I didn't even know I could have. Like the amount of things that I have been able to do on my own, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would have laughed. I wouldn't have believed you. But the amount of independence that this job has given me, and sometimes having my layovers, my time away to myself, really gives me time to relax and decompress, and then I can bring my best self home to my relationship. I think part of it too is just really good communication with your partner. For example, lots of texting, lots of FaceTiming, and yeah, just good communication with your partner while you're gone. Can you have a pet if you are working as a flight attendant? This question is tricky because it really depends on your situation. As you all know, we have our beautiful golden retriever, Luna, and we just absolutely love her. Luna has always been Eric's dog. So he got her, and then when we moved in together, she became our dog. And honestly, if he did not work from home, then it would be very difficult for us to have a dog. And it would be really difficult for me to have a dog by myself because sometimes with my schedule, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how long I'm going to be gone for. So if I was single and living by myself, I don't think it would be a responsible decision to have a pet. I can honestly say that I love my job. I love being a flight attendant. I have gone to see some of the most amazing places around the globe. I have also met some of the coolest people, be it passengers or other crew members, and just the amount of opportunities that my career in aviation has given me, I'm just forever grateful. Off the top of my head, those are the basic and consistent questions that I've noticed that I have gotten over my 5 years of flying. But if you have any other questions, please put them in the comment section below and I will do my best to answer. Thank you everyone so much for watching this video. If you want to learn more about my life and the lifestyle of a flight attendant, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.